Hello, crafty friends. Good morning. I am Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and happy Saturday. I hope that your week went well, and I know my kiddos are back to school, so maybe you've enjoyed some free time this week that you didn't get over the summer. So please say good morning when you come in. I know I've had a lot more time in my craft room this week, so that's been nice to get back to that schedule. So if you pop in, say good morning, please. If you're new, let me know where you're coming from. Good morning, Linda. I'm just pulling up my video here so I'll be able to see comments. So we will see. Facebook keeps making changes, and so we will see if I'm able to flip the camera or if I actually have to take it out of my holder. One of the reasons why you haven't seen my face right away on our Saturday morning lives is because they took away the ability to flip my screen. So we will see how it goes this morning. So today I want to make a thinking of you card. Good morning, Tracy. How are you? I'm just trying to get my video up so I can see comments. Okay, awesome. So I want to make a thinking of you card, and I asked the question, I think it was yesterday or the day before, over on my page. I asked what you guys used that greeting for. Because when I first started making cards, I really thought thinking of you was just for like a sympathy card, like something you send after someone's, lost somebody. So you might tell them, send them a sympathy card, but then a thinking of you was after that. Like I just always tied it with grief. And the reality is that saying is for so many more occasions than just when you want to send somebody a sympathy card tied to a death. So I was really kind of curious what people would say, because as I've been a demonstrator and really making cards a lot more, I feel like thinking of you is such a versatile saying. I could be thinking of you because you've switched careers. I could be thinking of you because you're an empty nester. I have a few friends that are experiencing that right now. And while we have 2 adult children, I also have a very young child. So we're not quite there to the empty nesters, but many of my friends are. So a lot of them are experiencing a life change, and you could use thinking of you to send them a card a few weeks from now when all the college move-ins happened and say, hey, how's it going, right? So I'm curious, what do you use thinking of you for? Have you always just tied it with like a sympathy card, like a grief sympathy card, or do you use it more often? So please tell us. If you're watching the replay, feel free to answer, because lots of people come back and see these comments, and it will give them ideas if you use it for a situation that maybe we haven't thought of. So I would love for you to share. Yes, Tracy. Well, best of luck this year for your semester. Yeah, I know it's been really crazy busy for a lot of people with back to school. Yes, I think it's a great, recently I have loved using it for new moms, anybody that needs to know they're important. You're thinking of them. It's saying you're important to me. no matter what the situation is. Good morning, Shirley. Thank you for joining us. So I'm going to point down. I think we've had enough time that the notifications have gone out. I don't want to take too long because guess what? We are going to color this morning. I want to show you my card that I made. I put a little sneak peek on, and I'm going to show you some other cards I've made this week because I love this bundle and I really want you to see it. So let me scoot my coffee over here. And everybody wish us luck. We're going to hopefully flip our screen. Maybe not. Okay, I don't want filters. You guys don't want to see filters, do you? Okay. I don't want a mystery mask. That's my only option now. I can't flip my screen, but I can put a mystery mask on. You guys don't want to see that, do you? Maybe I could be a superhero. A card-making superhero? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just going to work with me here. I'm going to take my camera out of the holder and turn it around, and we'll continue on. And I hate to not show you my face because I don't have the program that allows me to use two cameras. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to go with it. You guys can see my really messy, I've rearranged my room. So I have lots of mess everywhere. I'm still organizing and trying to get things where I want it to go. And this is my best place to film and video. Oops. So let's move things around a little bit and get us all set up and ready to go. And I guess I'm going to have to explore the other things if I want to show my face. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, Linda. People who, especially loneliness, I know with this pandemic, it's been super hard on everybody. I know my grandmothers, they, didn't go around anyone for such a long time. And my grandma, I know, really appreciated those cards I sent. Even if it was just to say hi. Yeah, I talked to her on the phone. But a card is just so different. And to get mail that's not a bill or an advertisement is super important. I think it's even important for kids. Okay, I'm going to do a little rearranging here and try to pull my light down. Okay, I think we're good. So here's my card that I made. I absolutely love the aspen tree dies and this perched in a tree. So this set is in our July to December 22 mini catalog. And I finally got my printer to work, everyone. They added things to Celebration. So Celebration is till August 31st. All the products that are offered to earn free are while supplies last. We've had some things sell out, so Stampin' Up! Decided to add more to celebrate. So I want to point out that if you plan on ordering, these aspen tree dies are at level 2. So if you're going to order paper and glue and maybe stock up on a few things to get your Christmas cards or your holiday cards started, you can earn these dies for free. There's lots of other things on here as well that you can choose from, or you can choose from the things in the brochure. So I always want to make sure that you are getting the most for your money. So there's level 1 and level 2. Lots of things have sold out. So they added some more. So you can always view these things online as well in my online store. So if you have any questions, these have new numbers. So when you go to use these on Celebration, these numbers are unique to the Celebration. So make sure you're using that number. If you need to know the number, just message me and I'm happy to help you. Good morning, Jan, and good afternoon, Xana. Thanks for joining us. So this bundle if you don't have a $100 order, but you do want to order a level 1, this bundle does qualify you for a level 1. Let me find it in here. Here it is. I like to go right to the back of my catalog where it has the index. So this bundle is $53 before tax and shipping, so that qualifies you for a level 1 if you're just wanting to add this bird to your collection. And I usually buy all the bird stamps. I love coloring the birds. So we're going to use this little bird today. And let me show you guys what I worked on yesterday. My husband and I enjoyed some just time by the pool, enjoying the outside. And I colored a bunch of different birds. So this one I die cutted it. Or yes. Thinking if my English is perfect here this morning. I die cut it out and used it on my card. But I was just playing with colors, and I want to do one of these today. So your first choice is going to be, which bird would you like to see? Now, this one was a bit of a stretch. I found a bird on Pinterest, and I loved the blue and green colors on it, so I tried it. I'm not sure. Joe said it was he liked it, but this one was Joe's favorite. And, you know, I ask my son Joe a lot of times what he likes and doesn't like. And if I can find it, let me see here. I want to show you guys. Joe made me his own card. He asked me to stamp something, and then he colored it. And he loved it. I think it's awesome. So that's my little card from Joe. I have it here in my workspace. So let's play this morning. Yes, Xana, the bird dies. This is in the catalog, but Stampin' Up! Added, because things were selling out fairly quickly, and we had about 3 weeks to go when they released this, or maybe a little bit more. They pulled things from the annual catalog and the mini catalog and made them part of celebration. That's why they have a different number if you want to earn it for the celebration. If you're just buying it, you use the regular number and can add it to your cart like you normally would. But if you want to earn it for celebration, it has a different number directly tied to earning it during the celebration. So that's just a bonus. So if it's on your list and you have a really long list, hey, you could get that free, and then you've only paid for the stamp set. Yes, thank you, Linda. He is, he's a great kid. He likes making cards, and he likes to tell me, you know, he likes to critique me, but he's always positive, so I certainly enjoy it. Okay, so we can pick different colors, or I can just show you how I made one of these. So, this one is probably my favorite. I really enjoyed this. I took a lot of time coloring it. So obviously today when I color, I'm going to go a lot quicker than I did when I colored these. So let me show you some other cards that I made with this set. Well, you guys are letting me know which bird, here, let me spread them out so you can still see them, which bird you would like to use. And we can use this one. This one's just blue and gray, and I colored them all a little bit different. So I made this card. You might have seen it. I paired it with the Christmas season stamp set and coordinating dies. And I looked these birds up on Pinterest, and I just copied the colors and tried to copy, you know, similar lines on the bird. So they may not be perfect or true to the bird in real life, but I like them. So, and I also made a set of these cards. So if you're in my Stamp and Create with Beth group, the tutorial for this card is over in that group. If you want to join the group, feel free to request to join, but please answer the questions, because I do have to keep spam out of my group, and that is one of the ways that I can do that. Good morning, Dad. Thanks for joining us. And I decided I loved this card so much, I made a ton of them. with all different bases. And this was the actual card that we made in the Facebook group. So I did the background a little bit different, and we used shimmery white instead of basic white. So this die comes with this bird set, this tree. So I thought we might use that one today so I can show it off along with this. So let me show you these dies because they're amazing. Anybody have an opinion on which bird we color? So it comes with an outline to cut out your bird. This is like flowers or foliage, and then it has two different leaves that are detailed. They emboss. And then this goes with the branch. So these two have dies. And then you get this very large die with trees. And I loved it. Now, on my other cards, we colored this. I used smoky slate and I used white ink. White ink takes quite a bit to dry, so we're not going to do that this morning. I'm just going to use that die and make a layer for the card. And we're going to do some sponging. So what do y'all think? Do you have a preference on the bird? If you think you don't want to hang out a long time this morning, I can always just die cut this bird that I've already colored. Or I can do a quick coloring and show you how I did it. Linda votes for the robin. I love this one. I think it's one of my favorites. And then I always love birds with blue on them. But I was on Pinterest and I saw some really bright colored birds. So there was one that was black with a purple belly, almost like a pink purple, like a fuchsia. It was amazing. This one I found on Pinterest, and this is, I colored this like what I saw on Pinterest called a fairy wren. Never heard of that bird, but it's certainly pretty. It has like a bright blue. I used watercolor pencils, so I have my pencils here. On this one, I used blends. So I used blends on this one, but I used pencil on these. I love the texture that I get from the watercolor pencils. So I've been playing with those a ton. I love blends too. There's definitely a different range of colors when you use those. Like there's no Tahitian Tide pencil. I wish we had one because I think that color would be great and it would help me make some really bright blue birds, but we don't have that color. So I'm limited to assortment 1 and assortment 2. And I just throw mine in a stamp case. This is a wide, I think it was called a wood mount or something stamp case. So if you have those laying around, then I just threw my pencils in an empty one. So we can do the robin, and I can show you how I did it. Like I said, I take quite a bit of time, and I really take my time when I'm working on these. So here's my sample card, and I did some sponging. I used a decorative mask. I used this one, and I added some background to this card, so we can do that too. Or we can just use the die cut trees and sponge some background on. So we have a few things. We have a few things to decide. Oh, no worries, Tracy. Hope y'all stay safe. We might have some storms later today, but so no worries about that. We are just deciding which bird to color. And so these were the birds that I did. Linda said she'd like to see this one. And I did use the watercolor pencils. So I was just going to stamp a bird and start coloring because I want to get going. I don't want to get behind too much because we do have some design things to think about for the rest of our card, because we're going to die cut our bird. Now this one I used 2 of the small leaves and the big leaf, and I used my watercolor pencils on those 2. Sorry, I can't seem to talk this morning. It is what it is. It's Saturday too. It's not even a Monday. Okay, so I stamped my bird in basic gray. And I don't know if you guys noticed the color scheme that I posted this week, but feel free to play along. It was Tahitian Tide, Balmy Blue, Basic Black, Basic Gray, and Smoky Slate. So I really loved these colors together. You might have noticed that color scheme on my card samples. So I'm just tapping lightly, making sure that I didn't get any ink. If you rock your stamp on your pad, you're going to get ink all around this edge, and it's going to leave that on your paper. Now, we're die cutting, so I'm not too worried about that. But if you're stamping directly onto your card or your layer, you want to make sure you're not rocking your stamp. And I'm just going to go ahead and clean my stamp here. Put my stuff away. Trying to keep my area clean if it's possible. It's not possible most of the time for me. So let's see. So to do the robin, I used pumpkin pie, early espresso, and I kept notes. So while I will put this somewhere else for permanent, I used my grid paper and took all kinds of notes so I could see what I used. Crushed curry, Cajun craze, Pacific Point, Balmy Blue, and Calypso Coral. And I think I used a little bit of the basic gray and the basic black. So, and I do like to bring in the white pencil as well. Now, one of the tips, I follow a ton of artists. So one of the tips was to keep your pencils really sharp. So I may have to stop for a second and sharpen, but I'm going to sit down here and try to work. So are you all ready? I'm going to give you a quick tutorial of how I colored this. And if we're running out of time too quick, then I might just stop where I'm at and die cut the one I already have colored. So what I did, just for reference, bring this in so you can see it. I started off kind of marking where I wanted it to be the orange. And I'm just using little light strokes and a really light touch. I don't want to go in real heavy with my pencils just yet. So I'm doing kind of a circular motion, but back and forth. And I'm just filling in that color. So whenever I'm coloring with pencils, I always start off with a really light pressure. And then we're going to add layer upon layer upon layer and darken and blend those colors. So who's been practicing their coloring with their pencils? Anyone? And that was pumpkin pie. Now I'm going to use some Calypso Coral. And I just like this orangey pink. And I'm going to come in kind of around the edge And where these lines are, the artist kind of gives us a little bit of lines to follow. I went around the eye. Now, I actually picked a picture on Pinterest, and I just kind of used it as a guide. And I'm leaving this middle more of just the pumpkin pie and putting the Calypso coral more around the edge. Okay. So if you come in, say good morning. I know lots of people have been having some issues maybe with connecting. So I'm just doing a light layer here. Sorry about that interruption. I had to remind my son that I'm live. Now I'm gonna come in with Cajun Craze, and I'm gonna sharpen this just a tad. I'm gonna come in with Cajun Craze and add in a few dark lines where I'm going to meet the blue. So I'm just doing like little flicks. I'm not coloring it in all the way. And I like to just work on one area at a time. And I adjust this constantly. So I might go over an area and then just keep going back and forth. I'm putting in some just little lines for texture. I think I did that a little higher than I did my original, but that's okay. Not all birds look identical, do they? Now the next color I'm going to add on is the blue. Good morning, Vicki. We're having a great day so far. I'm just going to start adding in some blue where I want that to go. Like I said, I think I did my orange just a tad higher than I normally did. So we might pull this blue down just a little bit. So I'm using that light touch again, and just adding where I'm going to have blue. And this is the balmy blue. I'm going to extend some down here. Oh, yes. Sorry, Linda. Yeah, I'll bring my camera down. How's this? Oh, hold on. Sorry, about pulled it out of the... Is that a little bit better, everyone? Oh, Xana, I hope you feel better soon. I know what it's like to be down, but not quite for that long. So everybody send Xana some good thoughts and prayers that she can get some relief from being sick. So I'm just adding in, hopefully, and, oops, sorry, I was out of screen, wasn't I? I was just recently watching an artist, and if you're in my group, I posted a video from one of the artists that I follow. So she recommends holding your pencil back here to help you do a light touch. So you can see that I kind of brought that orange a little further than I should have. That's okay. I'm just going to go over it with the blue because I'm going to come in with a little bit brighter blue here in a minute, and we'll just put it together and it'll be fine. So I'm using circles. And I'm just slowly building that color. So that was the balmy blue. Now I'm going to come in with Pacific Point. And I'm going to go right around where those two colors are meeting. And this is how I do it. You don't have to copy me if you don't, like something I'm doing. Feel free to make it your own. But I definitely like sharing. I know a lot of people ask me about coloring, so I'm mostly going in where these two colors meet and kind of creating just some darker areas. And I'm just doing a kind of a back and forth. And I'm also going to go under this wing part here. Yeah, I agree, Vicki. The feathers definitely mix. So it's not exactly like my original, but that's okay. So I'm going to leave those two colors as is, just because I'm trying to kind of hurry my coloring along. Normally I would do one area pretty close to how I want it, and darken it a little bit before I move on. But for my bird, I want to show you for the brown part, I used Cajun Craze. So up here. And I'm just kind of putting in lines. And I also traced around where the feathers are. So we've got a lot of lines. But I like this orangey brown. So I like to add it in. And then I'm adding color on top. So our colors change and they blend as we're adding them. I also added in some crushed curry. So this is like a yellow brown. And I'm just adding that in on the head. And it helps me create some highlights on here. And I'm probably not doing it exactly as I did on the original. Well, this is lighter because I haven't put the dark coat on. So now I'm going to come in and add in. And I do turn my project as I'm working on it. So you're going to see I'm adding in this early espresso. But because I added some lighter colors underneath, it changes and they blend. So I'm not adding just a dark brown. And you can do lines or you can do circles. You can do really whatever. And like I said, I'm kind of hurrying my process here just because I spend hours coloring. So we don't want to stay here all day watching me, do we? I mean, I would, but... So I'm just doing a light layer of that brown, and I'm going to come back in and definitely darken it. But I'm kind of just blending those colors with a really light touch at first. I want them to layer and kind of mix together so it's not just early espresso. Sorry about that, you guys. I guess I got out of screen. It's because I have my camera so low. So, and I was turning my page. So I'm just adding a light layer of early espresso. So you can see this is how my image starts off. It's not refined. Now we're going to come in and start darkening everything. I used the basic gray for shadows. I'm going to put some down here. Again, really light touch. And I'm also putting some right here with my blue. So you can use this underneath colors to kind of change the tone and help darken that color. So I'm just adding a very light layer of the basic gray, kind of in a back and forth. But I do, later on, you're going to see I do add flicks to try to make it look more like feathers or give it the texture. So I'm just lightly adding this in because it's mostly white down here. So I think I got the wrong color down there. I think something touched my page. That's okay. And I'm also going to use this gray right here on top of this blue to help darken that shadow. Now we're going to come back in and darken this. I'm going to sharpen this really quick. Because I like to keep my pencils really sharp. That helps me get in here. So I'm going to use the gray to start adding in like a shadow and some separation here. Part of my problem. Let me move this. I keep feeling the line under there. So I'm just tracing the lines. I'm not coloring all over this. And I am going to darken it down here because our wing is overlapping this. So the thing with pencils is once you press really hard, because, and coloring pencils are waxy. I'm not sure about watercolor pencils. But once you color really hard and your paper can't take any more color. That's why we start off light and then go in and darken. And I even went in with this black pencil and kind of traced very close to the line a shadow. And that's how I made that shadow. So you can do that as well and use your black pencil. You just don't want to use it a lot. You don't want to overuse it. So now I'm going to just start darkening everything. And how I did that was I just went back and applied a little bit more pressure. Again, I'm going back and forth. And I'm trying to do a circular motion while I'm doing it to help it blend and smooth out. Because remember, on this one especially, I layered 3 colors. And so I want them all to kind of blend together, but I want to keep those dark parts. And then I want the highlights to stay the brighter orange. And see, these two have mixed. So when orange and blue mixes, you kind of get brown. So it's not, I do have that a little bit here, but not as much as I do on this one. And that's okay. And then I went back in with Calypso Coral. And added in some darker spots. Again, right on top. And then you can even go back to your Cajun Craze and add in a little bit darker. I really liked it dark right here under the beak and right here by the eye. Again, your eye may see something different from me, and that's okay. And then I'm coming back with this, and what the artist I follow calls this is burnishing, which I've always used that when I'm folding my card, that term. And she said what this does is it beats down the cardstock or the paper, and it kind of locks in your color. So your paper's not going to take any more color after you do this in that section. So see, there's my orange section. Now I'm going to go on to my blue. We've got Pacific Point and Balmy Blue, and I'll use the gray for any shadow areas. So the Balmy Blue is the lighter one. That's my highlights. Make sure I grab the right pencil. The ends of your pencil are not always true to the color, so make sure you're reading them. I can't tell you how many times I've grabbed the wrong pencil. So, and it's okay if that blue goes out into the brown. I mean, think about it. They're not perfect. And I use kind of a lighter touch to blend out where I want that line to end. And I'm also going to use some gray to help me do that too. And then I'm using the Pacific Point to go in where I want it to be really dark. And I'm just kind of going around the edge. So this one came out just a tad darker. That's okay. Now I'm going to go in with that gray. I'm going to go right over top here. Can you guys still see me? I'm sorry if I keep going out of the screen. I'm trying really hard not to. So I'm just darkening this area down here where there would be a shadow. And then I'm using kind of a lighter pressure to finish off that texture. And you can change the direction that you're coloring, and it will help blend and smooth those lines out. Now I'm going to move on to the brown. Now, I did use the white pencil a little. Excuse me. You can use it to kind of help blend these edges. And I'm just kind of flicking and doing circular motion and just kind of trying to help that gray blend well and blend it into the blue. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my brown so you can kind of see how I keep transitioning so that I can adjust each area. I don't want to have it done too much in case I need to adjust something. So what I did on this, I went back in and I started adding my early espresso where I wanted it really dark. And I'm not worried about the true stamped line. I'm just kind of remember, you can always come in with your gray because we don't have a darker brown. So you can come in with that black or gray to help add a shadow. And I'm trying to leave some of that lighter color that I applied so that I have some highlights here. So I'm trying to leave some of that lighter color so it has a separation. And what I did was, you'll see, I pressed really hard on this. And you can come back in, hopefully it's focusing. You can come back in with the Cajun Craze, which I love because it's kind of an orangey brown. So it works really well with the early espresso. And so I didn't color everything in with the early espresso, even though it looks brown. It's because we've layered all of those colors. And then for my beak, it is, let me sharpen this, I'm gonna sharpen this black just a tad. Like I said, it's easier sometimes. I'm going along this line, and then I'm going to do the eye. And then I'm going to come in with my gray and do the bottom beak here. And I'm just using little short strokes to kind of bleed it into the orange that I have there. Can you guys still see everything I'm doing? Hopefully you can. Now I'm going to do the feet, and I used the Cajun Craze and the early espresso. Sharpen this. I almost need another set of pencils because I keep my pencils so sharp. I'm constantly sharpening them. So I'm going to come in with the early espresso like it's my shadow. And I'm just going around like that. Hopefully you can see. So I left room to add in this Cajun Craze. And if you want it more early espresso, you can go back over this so that it's not quite so orange. And then you can use the white pencil to whiten the eye or add in any highlights. Now the white pencil does not go over the other pencil really well. It just doesn't show up, but it works pretty good for the eye and to help blend things out. So if you have a gel pen, you may want to do that. I did use it for this right here. Try to create a highlight there. I had a little bit of extra, and when you do that, it does smear. Okay, I want to come back in with that. And anywhere that you want maybe a little more shadow, you can come in with this gray and do that. make it darker. And then I just keep adjusting till I'm happy with how my bird looks. So I'm going to use Balmy Blue, and I'm just going to, so there's my bird. What do you guys think? A little bit different than my original, but that's okay. And you can just keep adjusting your image as you go. So like I said, sometimes I take hours to color these things. I really take my time on my light layer and layering my colors. So here's my original. I took a lot of time coloring this and really where I wanted highlights. It might not be, like I said, exactly realistic, but I just love the process of coloring it. So we're going to use this bird and we're going to die cut him. And I have, now this size, I want to show you guys this layer. I had cut a layer to go behind my trees that I was die cutting on my other card. So this layer is actually not that one. This one right here. Maybe I didn't cut it that way. Let's see. No, I did, I thought. Maybe I cut this one regular. I guess I did. I did cut it regular size. But on this one, just FYI, if you like the size of it that you're seeing, this one was 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So I added 1/8 of an inch. So on these, I just cut my regular sizes of 5 1/4 by 4 and 5 inches by 3 3/4. So if you like the little bit bigger size from the 5 inches by 3 3/4, then you'll want to cut it 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And so I just happened to grab something I had laying here, and that was the size I had. On this card, I actually have 2 pieces of basic white adhered together because I wanted it to be really sturdy. And then I have these leaves. So we need to figure out what kind of card we want to make. Thank you, Vicki. Okay, so I have these 2 sizes, my 2 normal sizes. We're going to die cut this bird. I'm going to pull my camera back up, but here's that tree die. I want to use this, I think, and then build the bird on top of it. What do you guys think? Or do you want to do exactly like this card where I just do 3 leaves and we stencil a back, or I guess it's called stenciling, a background with one of our decorative masks. So I'm going to pull my camera up while you guys think about that, and I'm going to put my pencils away before I get color, the watercolor pencil marks on everything. So let me know what you want to do. Do you want to add in the trees? I love that die. I did do a card with that die in my Stamp and Create group. Oops, sorry about that. So you can see this card that I made, but we could add, excuse me, add it behind this bird. And we don't have to do this pattern that I chose. We could do the plaid. So let me grab these out of the way. You know, I was thinking the other day, I did a little video on basically how I got into card making. And the reality is, when I first started card making, I liked to 2-step stamp, but I hated coloring. I absolutely hated coloring. And fast forward 17 years later, I really enjoy this. So it's funny how you evolve as a card maker or a crafter, and what you liked in the beginning and kind of what you learn and how you expand and kind of move out of those comfort zones. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. I love that card. I loved sharing it. It is a little avid. It is for somebody who has a cut and emboss machine and wants to do layers. But I think it's a great card. That's what I like to do. So I certainly want to share those with you as well. Now, if you just get this stamp set, you could certainly stamp this bird on your layer and then just make a card, a 1-layer card. So this is die cuts, and these leaves are die cuts. So I used these die cuts on basic white and added color. And I can show you how I did that. I added that color just like I did on my birds. I used yellow and 2 greens, and actually I think I used 3 greens and a yellow. And you could even add in gray if you want to add in shadow. Gray is added underneath a color to change the tone. So like I said, I'm no trained artist, but I have watched videos and taken other classes just as an amateur to learn, because I want to better my coloring. So I did share a couple of my favorites. I did share the link to one group that I'm in that offers classes, and another lady that's on YouTube that I follow. So I definitely seek out advice and kind of it's self-taught. So I'm not perfect, but I do enjoy learning and doing. Okay, I'm just bringing in my cut and emboss here because I want to cut out my bird. Good morning, Larissa. Thanks for joining us. We're making a Thinking of You card. So Vicky says leaves, berries, and plaid. So no trees. And I'll tell you, I got the berries. I love berries and little berries sticking up everywhere. I use the berries from this Christmas season. So you may have this stamp set. We've had it around. I think it came out last year, and it's in the catalog again now. But I love these berries. They're perfect. We've had a couple different ones in the past, but this one's current. So, oops. Dropping your die is never a good thing. Luckily, I can find it easy. So I'm just going to line this up. It may be perfect, it may not. I'm not too worried. I can always use my scissors. I like to use Post-it tape to help keep my die in place. So let's go ahead and cut some of these leaves. We may decide we don't want them, and we may use them. And if we don't, I just throw them in with my dies and use them when I need a card again. Yeah, you could use, if you wanted to make, now this is more, in my opinion, this is more of a summer card. Oops. You could color the leaves to be a fall leaf. These are the only current leaves that I have right now, I believe, that are big. But you could certainly use what you've got. We definitely have retired things that you could use. So use what you got. If you have another bird stamp, I usually collect all the bird stamps. So I have all the ones that have come out since I was a demonstrator, or most of them, I should say. So there's our bird. And then these just come out. I love it that they're embossed. So not only do they cut, but they emboss. And I used one big leaf and 2 little. You know, the rule of and I'm not going to worry. I'm going to squeeze this in here because I want to use all of my paper. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm kind of squeezing this in. And I'm not worried about the stem part hanging off because I'm going to tuck that under anyway. So a lot of times my die cuts are messed up or cut in half. So don't throw them away. Just if you make a mistake, and you can use it later for a different project. Okay, any opinions on what we add in? Does anyone want to use, sorry, I'm hitting everything with my hand. Does anyone want to use that big tree die? Excuse me. My throat is very dry this morning. So here's what the die looks like. It cuts your layer. So we could really, you know, pile this up on here and have those trees in the background. And I save all my little pieces of tape till they just won't stick anymore. I just throw them onto my machine. I think I need to clean it. I'm a little messy. So if we want to, does anyone want to add in berries? So you want to do this layout, but you want to put a couple of those berry sprigs in. Those are stamped. I could die cut. I could stamp the branch and then die cut the berries, or we could do a technique. I don't want to take too long. It's already after 10, but there is a technique where you stamp and then add the pencil on top of your stamped image. We could throw that in this morning. Anybody? Anybody? Throw out your ideas and your opinions. So big tree die or no? Do you guys want to do this die or not? Let's, I guess maybe, am I giving too many choices? Tracy votes for the big one. And that's okay. We can, like I said, we're just, the whole point of Saturday morning is the creative process. So throw your hat in the ring, throw your opinion out there. Let's test it out. I'm taking away all the fear, right? I'm doing all the testing for you. So, and it's my card. So if it, you know, if it doesn't turn out, it's on me. I have yet to have too many cards not turn out completely. I mean, I may rearrange a lot of things. I might not like something or love it, but I think most of the time, you know, things work out for the best. Maybe not always on my coloring, but so we can take this layer. Let's just cut one. How about we cut one, and if we decide not to use it, oh well. I'll use it on a different card, right? Don't be afraid to explore. So I have two sizes here. I have our normal layer, which would be really small. Look how small this would be. So we don't want to use that. I'm going to use the 5 1/4 by 4 piece. And let me get in so you guys can see. So you just line it up on there where you want it. I love that it just cuts a big space here. And I am going to use a little piece of tape because I don't want it to move. I'm going to end up, I got to scoot back just a tad. You get the idea. Yeah, I love this die. So if you do have a big order, you could always get these dies at the level 2. So that's why I said if you have a lot of things on your wish list, this might help you get something that you want. Now, something I said on my video in my group, and I'm going to repeat it here. Some of these spots right here are very delicate. I was cutting 2 layers at once, and it bent my die. So, and it could be because my plates needed flipped or whatever. But just be very careful with this because it's very intricate. And we do have a die brush that you can get. Let me grab it from over here. We have this brush that you can get for your take your pick tool. I just throw mine in a little basket here, and then let me move this really quick so I can show you how this works. And then I'll bring it back in. Has anyone voted for berries? Or I think I'll just stamp them and we'll see. We'll just see if we want to use them. I certainly think that Christmas season set is well worth it, and I love the dies. It has a lot of labels with it too. So that was pretty easy. You can also put your die on here. It comes with this foam mat, and you just brush this over top, and it goes into all those little holes and releases. Now, I have two take your pick tools. So this one stays with my die cutting stuff, and I have the piercing tool on the end, because anything that doesn't come out, you can poke it in that little hole and clean out your die. If you don't do that and you don't clean that out, then the next time you go to cut, these little spaces are not going to cut as well because it'll be too thick. And then this is a dollar store basket. I just use it to try to contain my mess. Doesn't always work, but it's worth a shot. So there's that. So yeah, I think these are a great set. I love it. And of course, the bird's going to stay in my stash forever, for as long as I'm card making. Okay, so I've got tape. Don't mind me. I've got my 3 leaves, and I have a layer. Now, I doubled this on my other cards because I just felt like this could be a little flimsy, but we can do it flat. That's no problem. And what I have here is I have another piece of 5 1/4 by 4, and we would mount it like this. So we can sponge a background on there. We could do plaid, or we could just add color. And we can add color with the pencils for this. And let's stamp a couple berries, and we'll just throw those in there as well. And I'll show you a little technique. And then we just have to assemble. So I'm going to try to speed it up just a tad. Just a tad. I know we're after 10 o'clock. These are the pine cones that I used on those other cards. And these have dies as well. So I'm going to use Smoky Slate and Balmy Blue. Those are just my choices for berries. And I need some blocks here. And you'll want your mat, your foam mat, to stamp on. So you can either use the Stamp and Pierce mat, or you can use the mat from your Stamparatus. So I'm just going to throw those to the side really quick. We're adding in a little extra. And I'm going to do this in Balmy Blue. And then I'm going to show you a little technique that you can do on with your pencils. I think I layered this right. I'm not right over top of my thing. That's okay. I'm not worried about it. It works. Okay, so what do you guys think so far? I'm going to die cut these berries real quick. I'm just going to do it off to the side here. I'm going to bring this in. Now, I was looking through Stampin' Up's all of our current stamps, and I realized that I don't have a large amount of thinking of you, like that exact phrase. So these are the dies that go with that Christmas season stamp set, and I love it because it has a lot of labels. It has a lot of neat dies in here, so this is worth every penny. Has all these labels. I've used these tons of times. You can make tags with them. It has these little slot dies to make slots on the end for ribbon. So I need to add some magnetic sheets. Mine don't want to stick anymore. So are you guys thinking about layers? Do you want to do green leaves? And you could have done the berries any colors. I just happen to have all the blues and the grays out here because I've been playing with this color combo all week, and I hope you guys will give it a try too. Okay. So there's a couple of berries. Put my die away before I lose it. Okay. Okay, do we have any opinions? So I cut a couple of berries. This is what our layer like that would look like, and we're going to add some color. Now let's add some color to these leaves. So do you guys want to do the leaves in greens? Do you want to see how I did these? I used Daffodil Delight. I used a tiny bit of Old Olive, Garden Green, and the Granny Apple Green. Well, we're not going to have monotone because of our robin. Now, if we used a bluebird, then we could make it more monotone like I did the other cards. So do we want it to be more spring, summery, or, I mean, we could make them gray, white and gray, and just let all the other colors kind of take center stage. So that's definitely an option. These are the colors I used on this card. And then I can sponge a background. So here's all of our bits and pieces so far. How are you guys feeling about it? What do you think? Do you guys want to try, do you just want to sponge a background? And by sponge, I mean use my blending brush. Do you want to try to do a pattern? So on this card, I use this pattern. It's a decorative mask. They come in a set of 5, so there's some different ones in there. These are my 2 favorite. So you could have a plaid background. This is probably my most used. I think it goes this direction. And it doesn't have to be the full sheet. It can just be like a little spot of plaid. Or we can do it plain and layer this. So let's show you what those choices look like. Maybe it's too hard to make the choice trying to envision it yourself. So let me scoot this stuff off. Let's do this. I'm going to sponge a couple backgrounds, and then we can decide that way. So I'm just picking up, rubbing my brush on my ink pad, and I'm going to start off over here, and then I'm just adding it to my piece of cardstock. So I start off over here a little bit and then come on to my project. And you can do circles, you can do back and forth, you can do whatever you're comfortable with. I really love this. Because you can add color to anything. So even my die cuts, if I didn't have the pencils, I could take this and sponge and brush on color to my leaf. So I think I love these blending brushes, and it gives a nice soft color. You might get a little inky, add some more ink, test it, and then go in. And you can just keep adding until it's as dark as you want. So this is pretty subtle. It's very light. And then you can lay this over top and just glue them together. So there's one option. Let me grab another piece. Like I said, even if I make layers, even if we're not using them on this card, that's all right, because I'm making cards all the time. I can use these later on. So I don't mind exploring. So this has a kind of a rough side and then a smooth side. You want it to be rough side down. And I'm going to show you a little thing that I do if I have enough tape left. I need to get some more tape. So you can use a low-tack tape. I'm using Post-it tape. And I'm just going to line this up. Doesn't have to be super perfect. I'm trying to get it somewhat straight on here. Just going to line it up with this line, and I'm going to tape this right to my mask. Now this doesn't stick really well because it's Post-it tape. It's not real tacky. Now I'm going to turn it over, and we're going to blend the same way that we just did. So pick up some ink from your pad, start off over here, and then we're going to come in and do this. Now on the original card, I just did it dark in some spots and kind of let it fade out. So you can do the same thing. You can do your whole layer. I really love these. This is a great way to kind of step up your backgrounds. And even if you don't have a die cutting machine, you could still cut the bird out. You can cut around it with scissors. So I'm just trying to get it darker in the middle, and then I'm just letting it kind of fade out a little bit. Now to clean these, you just rub all the ink out. So I use blue. I have one blue one for all the blues and the teal. So there's that, and then this just peels off. You can wipe that off, or you can, if you got a really dark ink on it, you could ink it or rinse it off in the sink. These are water-based inks, so you can just rinse them off. You don't have to use soap. Yes, you could use a cloud mask. And we actually have that basic borders die that's a stitched, it's a cloud, but it's a stitched edge that you could use. You could create a mask with that and then just move it and just sponge. So there's lots of things you could do with this. So there's that one. There's this one. So you could layer this. I don't know if you like it or not, but that's kind of what it would look like if you layered it like that. So what do you guys think? Someone throw something out there. So if we do this, we're going to put him right on top, and we're going to stamp thinking of you, and it can be up here. It doesn't have to be right at the bottom. And you could add in some leaves. So this would be very layered. This would be a very, very layered card. So I had a strip of paper like this. This is a scrap from cutting my basic white. I stamped my greeting and I cut it. And then I basically made all one piece like this. And I used glue dots. And then this is adhered flat. And this is all dimensionals, but I adhered all of these together and then put the dimensionals on the back. And so this was in there too. You could stick in some berries. We haven't added any color yet. You could add in some berries. So do we want green leaves? So I think that's too busy. That's my opinion. I like it either this way with maybe just our greeting and our bird, thinking of you, or this background like our original. What do you guys think? I'm going to start adding some color to these. I don't know if I lost everybody. Maybe you're afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to throw your ideas out there. So let me show you how I did these leaves. I took Daffodil Delight and I just started throwing color on, and I put it towards the middle. And some of them I did a little more yellow than others. Again, you're just playing with color, layering it. Don't press too hard. You still want to go kind of a light pressure because the same thing will happen. You want it to be able to take the color. So, and then I added on, I just started building my color. So you have your three greens. Old Olive looks more brown when it doesn't have water to it. So I used it towards the edge. It's not a real pretty color for your project, but the reality is it's a color that is on the leaves. But I'm using it kind of to darken. So I'm going to go over that area with my other green, so I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I didn't care for that either, Vicky. So then I'm coming in with garden green, and I'm adding in some more green. So this is a quick version of how I did these leaves. You can take as much time as you want. They're die cut, so you just want to be kind of gentle with it. And I'm just overlapping these colors, basically. I'm going to use my greeny apple green to really brighten it and color hard, and I guess make it so that it's finished off, I guess. Yes, Linda, you can definitely watercolor the bird. If you're not going to do what they call no line, be very careful if you're using our regular classic inks, because there's so much detail, it will smear and mix. You can use the Stays On ink. This is a red rubber stamp, so you don't have to worry about ruining it. And you can stamp it in Stays On. We have saddle brown or black. And you can do that instead of watercolor pencil. And then you can, I saw another demonstrator, don't remember who, she watercolored these die cuts and they just looked absolutely gorgeous. And obviously if you're watercoloring, you have all the inks that you own. So, you know, the pencils have limited colors. We only have 23 colors, and that's why I'm layering and trying to adjust these colors to be what I want them to be and add dark areas. And when we watercolor and you're using your water painter or a paintbrush, the colors that we have to use are just more because we have the whole color line. Same thing with the blends. The blends only comes in certain colors. I love the look of the blends, and I love the look of this. I like the texture I get from the pencil. Now I'm doing this kind of quick, so you're probably seeing a lot of my lines. I'm not taking as much time to do shorter strokes, so just trying to do it quick and really overlap it. So you can see where I have that yellow, it stays a brighter green. And where I've put the darker greens, the color is just different because you can really layer them. With watercolor, you'd want this to dry a little bit and then add in some details. So you certainly can use whatever you have to color it. Even if you just have colored pencils, that's okay. When I first started, I didn't have watercolor pencils. I used my kids' pencils. So use what you got. So there's one of my leaves. Yeah, yes. So because it's embossed, the veins stay white. Now I'm sure if I sharpened my pencil and put it down in there and traced it, I could add some color. But I love that it just kind of stays that way. You could choose fall colors. Maybe you want a fall card, not a summer. Let me just finish this up. I think I need to sharpen my pencil. And I'm going to grab out Balmy Blue for my berries. I'm going to add a little bit of color on top of that stamped image. So you can use your watercolor pencils to add shadows and layer colors, even if you've stamped it. So these leaves, I put a lot more yellow on, but I'm just trying to blend all those colors. And you can go different directions, circles, back and forth. That helps the color blend. So there's my leaves. That's exactly how I did them. Feel free to try it and you see which colors you like blending and layering. So there's those. You can make them darker. On these, I used a little bit more garden green than I did the Granny Apple Green. So I've got Pacific Point and Balmy Blue, and you can add in coloring right on top of this. So you can add in, you can use Pacific Point, add in your shadow. And then add in your color. So I could have stamped these berries in, I mean, I stamped them in Balmy Blue. I have that on my table, but I could have stamped them really lightly in gray and then added the pencil on top just to change it. Now the texture looks just like my bird. Okay, so I used the Go-To Greetings. I used this Thinking of You. But we have a couple others thinking of you. In our birthday pig, we have Thinking of You. No, it is not, Vicki, unless you have a really small Thinking of You. This has Thinking of You with All My Heart. That's Peaceful Moments. Beauty of Friendship has a Thinking of You. Now, this is a little bit thinner than the Go-To Greetings. And that's all the Thinking of You stamps. There's an I'm Thinking of You in Art Gallery, but that's all the ones I have that are current. So which Thinking of You stamp did you like? I'm going to go ahead and stamp it in basic gray. That's my neutral for today. And then we'll decide how we want to build our card. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a block here. Anybody have a preference on the Thinking of You? So this one's skinnier. It's a skinny greeting. I actually have a smaller strip of paper somewhere. So use up your little strips. When you cut 5 1/4 by 4, you get this little strip. When you cut the 5 by 3 3/4, you get this wider one. Tracy votes Go-To Greetings. Yeah, the branch is kind of, what do I do with my stamp set? It's a little busy. So it's not very thick. Now, if you just did a die cut, if you just die cut the branch, maybe. Somewhere I have one. Don't know what I did with it. But if you're stamping it, I think it's too detailed to layer those things. That is a great idea, to layer those things. I had a branch cut out somewhere around here because I was trying to squeeze it in and it was too busy. My card just got too busy. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. So I colored one that I was going to try to use on my card. I didn't really love it. So it's not very thick. Yeah, I didn't love it with it. I like the bird without the branch. So Tracy says Go-To Greetings. Anybody else? I feel like I don't know, everyone's being shy this morning. So obviously we have this really big one. I use the medium size, and then we have a smaller one. So this is this middle sized. So that's the next thing you have to kind of decide is which Thinking of You. And this one's quite large, but if you were trying to, and we could cut a bigger strip. This is not going to fit on this strip. But if you wanted a bigger Thinking of You, you certainly could do a die cut, one of the labels, or just a bigger piece of cardstock and have it really big across there. So what do y'all think? And we haven't really decided. Do you guys want to use the tree, this background? It's a little simpler. Or The smallest one with the trees. So this is Linda's vote. Thinking of you. And we could do this right all across. We could do it across like this and thinking of you. Or we can stack it like this one. You're fine, Tracy. Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, Tracy. Prayers for your student. That is rough. Aw, yes, everybody, tribe. Send Tracy's student some love. Good vibes, prayers, whatever you do in times of need. No worries. I'm not calling anybody out. It's okay if you don't want to answer. I never know who sticks around because my thing doesn't tell me who's here and who isn't. So certainly not. I certainly don't want anyone to feel nervous. If you're new, maybe you're watching but you haven't commented, I promise that we don't yell. We invite all ideas. We're exploring. We like to explore. So let me stamp this and we'll go from there. Where's my... So I put this on my block and I'm just tapping and inking it up, and look what I did. I rocked it a little bit and I got that little bit of ink there. You want to make sure you wipe that off. If you leave that on, it will be on your surface where you're stamping, and you don't want that. I don't know how long I want this, so I'm trying to stamp it right in the middle. Oh, I did not even stamp that straight. Really crooked. Flip it over and let's try that again. Let me try this again and see if I can. Well, I don't think it's perfect, but it's going to work. It looks like handwriting to me, so I don't know that it has to 100% be straight. And we're going to cut it off. Now, remember, I flipped it over, and if you're one of those people that this edge bothers you, like when we cut the paper, it creates an edge. Bring in your foam mat and your bone folder and push that edge back down. I never noticed it until somebody pointed it out to me, and now that I know about it, I can't live with it. So I'm gonna, where's my scissors here? I know, Tracy, yay for two sides, because I need both of them some days. I'm just chopping that off a little bit. We may still adjust the size. So we've got it on the trees. There's our thinking of you. And Vicki wanted to know if this would straddle it. I don't know that it actually does. This is not very far apart. I actually had a hard time using it with that branch because I just felt like it just wasn't, the angle was weird. The angle's off. It's like the branch should be going this way behind it. I guess maybe that's the way it's intended. So I kind of like it tucked. See, on this one, I tucked him under like this. And of course, I would trim it off if I did that. So are we voting no for the plaid and yes for the trees? I think I had 2 votes for the trees. So I'm going to use that plaid. I'm going to make another bird card because I have all these birds I've colored. So there will be a plaid card with a bird on it. And maybe I'll do when I do the bird card that's blue and gray, maybe I'll make my leaves more gray and some berries so it's more monotone like Vicky had suggested. So we do have these leaves that we can add in like this. We can trim that, and we can even add in those berries. So we could add some leaves, trim this, and maybe put this leaf down here. And we're just building, we're just trying it out, seeing how we like it. What do you guys think? What do you think about, now we haven't picked a base or any of that yet. What do you think about this layout? And I think I'm going to trim this, if everyone's okay with that. I'm going to trim this up right to my words. If you're not okay with it, I'll just stamp another one. Okay, so this would fit in like this. That's how we're layering it. Just pretend I didn't mess it all up. So you want this berry down like this. So we're just playing. This is called dry fitting. We're seeing what we like and where we want it. So Linda doesn't like the leaves. You don't like the green. So Tracy says yes. Vicky's one of the berries chains. Linda doesn't like the leaves. So what do you guys, let's vote. Leaves, yes or no? It's okay if you don't like them. I can adjust the color. I can maybe make them darker. I do have a couple of white ones. I have two over here that I haven't colored because I've been die cutting these leaves a ton. Okay, so maybe not the big leaf. It's okay, Linda. Too busy. It's okay to think that. I just wonder, I didn't know if it was the color or just the layout, but when I was making my other cards, I was making them super busy. I had tons of pine cones and tons of this and tons of berries, and I did have to pare it down because sometimes I overwhelm myself. So what do you think about something like this, where we just have a couple leaves and a couple berries and our bird and then our greeting, and I can scooch it over. We can scooch it over here. And kind of spread it out or layer it up more so we see more of this. Okay. All right. What do you guys think about that layout? Is it still too busy? Do you like it? Does it seem like it's more balanced? Like I said, sometimes I start creating and I overload my card and then I start taking things away. That's why I have extra die cuts laying everywhere, because originally I was trying to put a branch on this and trying to do all kinds of things, and then I ended up just using 3 leaves because that just felt simpler to me. So Vicky suggests moving it down so you don't see this. So I'm just something to think about. I want to show you this card because I left it open. When I was making these cards and layering, I had a lot down here in this left corner, and it felt very heavy on the bottom. So then I tried it by moving it up a little bit. So that's why I kind of have this up a little bit. I don't want it to be too heavy on the bottom. I mean, yes, you can do it that way. I've made lots of my cards that way. So what do you guys think? You want the bird to stand out more. So Do you think white leaves? I don't know that they'll show up at all, really. I mean, I do have one big one and one little one that I haven't colored. Or I could die cut one real quick. I don't think I have any more cut. No. I have this big one that I sponged gray on. I didn't end up using for a card. This is sponged with gray. So if you take these away, we're trying to have the bird be the center of attention. We could do one big leaf that I have sponged in gray, some berries, and a thinking of you. True, Tracy. I don't accessorize anymore. Since kids, I just don't wear that many accessories. But it's true. I never piled those on, but I certainly like to pile it on my card. Thank you, Linda. I do love the bird. It is one of my favorites. So, well, the only reason why I didn't have his feet showing is because I didn't have an anchor for him. So that's why I kind of put my greeting over it. Because I didn't want the branch in there. It's definitely too busy with the branch. And I only know that because I've already tried that. I just felt like it was too much because the way that the bird has to be angled for the branch. So see, I have him on the branch here. And you can't see, I covered it up because I didn't like how it lined up. And I've seen beautiful cards that way. So there's no wrong way. I just felt like maybe he wasn't anchored enough. Now there'll be a little edge here. Unless we just do the bird on, like down here, like he's on this branch. So see this branch right here. He's on a branch. And I'm not sure what to do with the thinking of you. Like, it doesn't have enough room to be the anchor. It's not the right angle. I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean like this? Maybe if I had left it long. Let's see if I can figure out what Vicki wants me to do here. Let me stamp another one. Hope you guys don't mind hanging out. I know we are way over our time limit, so that's okay. We're creating. We're having fun. Sometimes this process takes a little longer. So I'm just restamping that thinking of you. Man, I can't stamp this straight for nothing. I think it's the font. I just want to stamp it crooked every time. There we go. So I made it a little longer, and it will probably need is that what you mean? Linda, what do you think? Do you like that better and then just use one leaf? It doesn't have to be a green one, or it could be a green one. It could be like this. Or it could be one of the white ones. And don't mind me, it's not going to be perfect because I'm fluttering with everything. So there's with the leaf, and it's just a rough guesstimate. Or we could throw this on behind it if we want a little separation. Or we could use this plain white one. Or no leaf. Gosh, there's a lot of choices, huh? And I could trim that a little. So, oops. I almost want to glue this together. I'm going to glue this to adhere it together so that I keep, so that I quit taking it apart. So I'm just using liquid adhesive on this. Oops. Of course, I've got glue all over me now. And I'm going to line this up. Oops. Okay, so now that that's together, so let's put this a little lower, and I've got that edge on there. I had to stamp this one twice too. That's glue. Somehow I got glue on there. So this is lower. Do you mean all the way to the bottom, or... And I would probably adhere this on and then maybe trim off the excess. So this is the bird, not quite to the bottom, without any leaves. This is simple, and it's fine, as simple as you want it. If you don't like loads of things on your card, not car, card, you can certainly do it this way. So this is very simple. You could pick a, let me grab, this is a basic gray base. So that's basic gray. You could obviously choose lots of other colors. I just like basic gray because it really helps your colors pop. That's probably my favorite card base to use. So that makes your bird center stage. The robin's there, and that's the main color. Okay, Linda says one leaf. Do you mean a white leaf, or do you mean a colored leaf? Like we could tuck, I know the whole background's white, but okay, just pretend that that's tucking under there. We could tuck a leaf underneath, or we could do it behind like this. Vicky suggested adding the leaf here I'm assuming this is what she means. And then berries on at the leaf. Sometimes it's hard for me to understand exactly what what you mean. That's covering up the bird a little bit. Under. Okay. Under the bird. And then a berry. And then this would be on top of our greeting. And I think she means the berry over here. Just pretend like it's perfect because I can't get it to stay where I want it. What do you think, Linda? Too busy? Or are we getting there? Are we getting there? Let me toss this stuff off to the side. I do like the blueberries. I feel like they don't compete as much with the bird. I feel like the bird. Now we could put this and the greeting on dimensionals and pop it up like I did with this one. So this is all one layer. This leaf, the bird, this leaf, and the greeting. I feel like it's the leaf. I can't fit the berry under his tail. So I'm not sure if that's where you want the, like this. So the berries are going to be pretty hidden because we just don't have enough room. Now, if I did a landscape, I'd have a lot more space to spread out. So that's something. This is a portrait. Now, you could die cut it, landscape, and just kind of glue it in. I think I like the leaf up here better. What do you guys say? Leaf on the top part? I think I like it sticking up there better. And then, I think I like the leaf up here. I just, I don't know. What do you guys think? Leaf up or down? I hope I'm understanding and getting it right. I'm trying. So I can trim this a little bit and make it all one layer. I'm going to use a glue dot, stick it together, and then put dimensionals on the back. I'm going to see if I got another package of dimensionals in here. So Linda's voting leaf on top with the berry going up with it. Vicki says that looks good. I think we're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him be dimensional, put dimensionals on him, but I'm also going to put my greeting on dimensionals. And those are going to be flat. And that's going to, I'm going to trim this a little bit. That's going to help me kind of give a little bit of separation. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a glue dot right here and down on his feet. So I'm putting a couple glue dots there. Oh, I'm not worried about, it's okay if I have to cut it. So I'm going to put this right here. And then I'm going to trim this. And I do this often. I might see how I want something and then trim the excess off. That's okay. So I'm going to trim that little excess off. And it's okay that it's straight. Now I'm going to take my dimensionals. Ooh, new dimensionals. Who loves when you open a new pack? Trying to get this down. Hopefully that doesn't show. There. So this is going to be on a dimensional, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything even though I don't have this glued down yet. So I'm going to put this like that, and then I'm going to add this in. So let me, and it may not be exact, but it'll be pretty close. I think I had that out further, but I think it'll be okay. Let's see if I can move that. There we go. I like that better. Now I'm just going to stick a little glue on the bottom of this leaf because I want to be able to tuck that berry in. I think I just messed that up. Take it off. Don't mind me, I'm just adjusting here. I need to move this. Okay. Work in progress, right? Okay, and then this. You can also use glue dots. They're a little bit easier if you have to adjust something. And then let's go ahead and add this in. So when I did my other cards, I made all the layers and then decided which card bases I wanted. What do you think? There's our layer. So we've left a lot of it kind of white just to help those colors pop. Like I said, you could use a white leaf with gray on it. Or like Vicki suggested, a little bit of blue on there and just leave it kind of neutral. What do you guys think? I know it took us a little while. It took us a lot of deciding on what we want to do with that. Now this one, I didn't put 2 layers because our background, the way we created it with the tree die, is already 2 layers. And I hope you guys are okay with the basic gray base because that's what I put it on. So there's our process of making a thinking of you card. What do you think? I hope you all are happy with it, with our experiment. I've got lots more pieces over here to play with. So we have this die set that you can earn free during celebration. It just was added. It has a unique number if you want to add it to your celebration. So if you don't have those numbers, make sure you message me so that you can add it, because celebration gets entered into a different spot on your order. So we want to make sure that you get those things and get the most for your money. So what do you guys think? Oh, thanks, Vicki. Thank you, Linda. I'm glad you guys like it. You ladies, I know most mornings, Saturday mornings, we're here trying to work out these cards. So I definitely appreciate you. Now for this card, I just used a decorative mask. These are called Artistic Mix. They're in the annual catalog. You can find those in my online store. Along with a blending brush and balmy blue ink, I colored my die cuts, which are part of the Aspen Tree dies, with watercolor pencils. I just die cut them from basic white, colored them with watercolor pencils. My bird is stamped in basic gray and colored with the watercolor pencils. So I love this stamp set on its own. It has some texture stamps. You guys know, if you've been with me for a while, how much I love texture stamps. I also use the go-to greetings. So these greetings are beautiful as well. No matter the season, I am here for you. I love that saying. I've also used the wishing you abundant joy and peace. Your kindness warms my heart. And then this would make a great holiday card. Let heaven and nature sing. Love that. And I love the fonts that are in this set. The go-to greetings are great because they have thank you and happy birthday, just a note, thinking of you. And then I used these dies. The Aspen Tree dies go with the Perched in a Tree. You can buy it as a bundle and get 10% off. Or if you have a $100 order before August 31st, you can use a special number and get these dies for free during celebration. So if you need any help ordering, you don't know what to get, you're not sure about the item numbers, please message me. I'm happy to help you. I want to make sure you get free things when you deserve them and you've earned them, right? If we're ordering and we're stocking up during celebration, we're earning free stuff. So if you need any of the Stampin' Up! Products, you can go to my online store at shop.stampandcreatewithbeth.com and grab those and get you some celebration items before the end of this month. So thank you all for joining me this morning and spending 2 hours with me while we made a very detailed layered card. I love seeing your choices and what you want to do and try. I know we tried a lot of extra things this morning, but that's what makes it fun. So if you watch the replay and you've made it this far, please let me know what you think about the card, what you might have done differently. Feel free to chime in. Lots of people may come back and see your comments, so we always want to see what you're thinking. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up or a heart. I love hearts. It lets me know that you enjoyed your time with me. And feel free to share my video or invite your friends to come along and spend Saturday morning with us. If you've invited someone to my group, Stamp and Create with Beth, please let them know that there are questions to answer to get into the group. Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Vicki, for hanging with me. Thanks, Tracy, and I know Xana was on. I think Jan was here at one point. Dad. I don't know if I'm missing anybody. Let me scroll through really quick. I don't think I missed anybody. Larissa was on. So thank you all. Thank you all. I know we're all squeezing out the last bit of summer. School has started here, so we're going to enjoy today. And Xana, I hope you feel better soon. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Shirley, have a great day. I'm just scrolling through, making sure I say bye. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care.